Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is bouncing from this important line of support from within this price pattern and is now getting closer towards a possible breakout above this resistance. And we are also seeing a new signal flash pointing towards a possible short squeeze coming soon, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside the price of Solana still exactly playing out this bullish divergence, while the price of Chainlink is getting very close to breaking out above very significant resistance. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin price chart, and right now the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, so nothing's changed over the last 1 day on this chart. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, as I talked about in my last video just yesterday, obviously we have started to confirm a reversal in the histogram within the MACD indicator on the weekly time frame. And so this is telling us that we've potentially already seen the maximum amount of bearish momentum within this bearish movement. So in other words, the worst is potentially behind us, but that does not necessarily mean we're about to flip massively bullish again straight away, because if we're comparing to the last couple of times we saw a similar signal in this Bitcoin indicator on this time frame, we still ended up seeing either around 1 month or even a couple of months before we actually finally started to flip much more bullish again. But obviously I've already been talking about this over the last 1 week or so before this signal actually started flashing, just over the last 1 to 2 days. And so there's not much else that's really happened that's new on this chart right here. So if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, of course, we still have a massive bearish divergence, which we need to pay attention to, because at least for now, it is technically still active. We've not yet confirmed an invalidation signal to invalidate this bearish divergence on the weekly time frame. And so as I've been saying since almost the all-time high at well above $100,000 per Bitcoin, I've been saying we should not be expecting any significant bullish momentum towards the upside anytime soon, which means moves like this, for example. Of course, we can see some short-term bullish price action here and there, like bounces from support and things like that. Just don't necessarily expect a massive move towards the upside anytime soon. And once again, I've been saying that for months, since above 100K. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart right now, as I'm recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is running into this Fibonacci level of resistance, sitting at close to 88,000, just below 88,000, and we're getting very close to possibly breaking out above that level, as we can see. But of course, we still need to actually confirm a breakout, ideally above 88,000, with at least a daily candle close confirming above that level, and then ideally holding that as new support. So for now, we've not yet confirmed a breakout here, but if we do end up confirming a breakout above 88,000, in that situation, expect a continued bullish move up towards around 91 to 92K, more specifically around 91.7K is where this 50% retracement level is currently sitting at. And then above around 92,000 acting as resistance, we also have more resistance at close to 96,000 based on this golden pocket area of resistance. And as for support, I would expect a lot of support at around 83,000, give or take, based on this level right here, this Fibonacci level, which was also previous support if we were to actually reject from here. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, obviously right now we are running into this area of resistance. As I've been saying for around a week, we've clearly been running into this resistance, and so far we have seen one rejection over the last 1 week, give or take, from within this area. And the area I'm talking about, in case you're new to the channel, is sitting in between around 86,000 to 88,000. So once again, 88K is the level to break. And as of recording this video, we are still currently finding some resistance around this area. Obviously, at least for now, we're still struggling around this area on the price chart. But if we can finally see that confirmed candle close, at least on the daily time frame, even better would be on the 3-day time frame, confirming above 88,000, then in that situation, like I just said, expect a continued move up towards around 91 to 92K. And if we break that level, then in that case, we have more resistance at around 96,000 based on this Fibonacci level, and also based on a lot of traded volume in the volume profile indicator sitting at around 96,000. And so those are some of the levels of support and resistance that I'm watching out for. And of course, the current situation getting very close to a possible breakout. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, for now, we still have this bullish divergence, which is actively playing out, as I've been saying every day for almost 2 weeks now, since all the way back down here, this first green candle close. And so once again, as I've been saying since since then, we're likely going to see a slight bullish relief in the short term, or at the very least a bit of choppy sideways price action. So basically no more significant bearish momentum just in the short term for the next couple of weeks while this bullish divergence is playing out. And technically speaking, the bullish divergence is still currently active. We've not yet confirmed an invalidation signal to invalidate this shorter term bullish divergence on the daily time frame, which means for now I continue to expect the bullish divergence to continue to play out. But as always, we cannot ignore other points of resistance where the price can also struggle at. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 4-hour Bitcoin price chart, obviously over the last 1 to 2 days, give or take, we did see a bullish move up towards pretty much exactly this line of resistance that I've been warning about since before that exact rejection actually happened. And that line was sitting at around just underneath 89,000 at around 88.7k, give or take. And that's pretty much exactly to the nearest dollar where we rejected from. And then if we're taking a look at this center line acting as support right now, considering the current price is above the center line, if we're looking at the center line from where we bounced from, that was sitting at around 86.3k. And if we're looking at where the price of Bitcoin bounced from, we bounced from exactly that level, exactly the center line. And so very clearly the price of Bitcoin is respecting these technical levels on the Bitcoin price chart. So continue to expect support at around 86 to 86,500 based on the center line, and more support in the high 83k area just below 84k. And as for resistance, once again, we have a lot of resistance also sitting at just above 89,000 right now based on this ascending line of resistance. And if the price of Bitcoin actually creates a slight higher high in the shorter term here, which as of recording this video, we've not yet done, but if for example, we create just a slight higher high above this previous high on the 4-hour time frame in the candle closes, in that situation, we have a possible short-term bearish divergence actually forming just on the 4-hour time frame. But remember, in order to actually confirm that here on the 4-hour time frame, we would need to actually cement a higher low in place in the candle closes in the price action, which for now has not yet happened. And before taking a look at some other important Bitcoin price charts and signals today, first, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I'm taking a lot of my crypto trades over on BTNex, so I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNex below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses that are only available using that link. And so just by trading crypto using that link below this video, you can get a brand new BMW motorbike, or if you don't want the motorbike, you can get 23,000 USDT as a trading bonus onto your BTNex account, but that's only available using that link. And for the smaller traders out there, you can still claim some decent bonuses using the link below this video. And in case you're wondering, BTNex is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link below this video. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want BTNex as an exchange, there's also 2bit as another option out there, another exchange that I also use. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video as well. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. And right now, we still have a lot of liquidity in the low 70k area, around 71k to 74k approximately. And we also have a lot of liquidity at close to 100,000 and a bit of short-term liquidity at roughly 89,000 and just above 89,000. And so those are some of the important levels on the price chart to pay attention to. But of course, we cannot ignore support and resistance. Once again, continue to expect the price to struggle around key resistance. And then if we finally see a breakout here, expect a continued relief up towards the next point of resistance. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto funding rates right now, a lot of the Bitcoin funding rates in particular, also some of the altcoin funding rates, but most of these Bitcoin funding rates across pretty much all of these major crypto exchanges are currently flipping negative. And so this tells us that there's a lot of crypto traders out there right now willing to pay premiums in order to short Bitcoin in particular, because basically when the funding rates are negative, what that means, in case you're new to all of this, is the short positions are having to pay extra fees, usually every 8 hours, else, the funding fees, have to pay extra fees to the long positions. And so in other words, the long positions are earning fees when the funding rates are negative, and the short positions are paying extra fees, and then vice versa. Usually when the funding rates are positive, that basically means the long positions are paying funding fees and the short positions actually earn funding fees if the funding rate is above the neutral rate. And this is one of the main ingredients to a possible short squeeze. It does not guarantee a short squeeze, but basically the further negative the funding rates go, the more likely a short squeeze will happen. And so definitely keep a close eye on this, and I will be keeping a close eye on it for you here in these videos. So once again, pay attention to the funding rates. They are now starting to flip negative, and especially as the price of Bitcoin plays out a bullish relief, if the funding rates continue flipping negative, that can really put a lot of pressure on the short positions, as they're not only losing money to bullish price action, but also losing money to increased fees. And in case you're new to all of this, that can force some traders out there to actually close their short positions, because the short positions are basically losing too much money. And when a short position closes, they have to buy back into the underlying asset, in this case Bitcoin, which pushes the price higher, forcing more short positions to close, pushing the price higher, and so on. That's what a short squeeze is. And so we'll likely just have to wait for some sort of catalyst to actually kickstart a possible short squeeze, like for example a confirmed breakout above a key point of resistance. That could possibly start at least a small short squeeze, so just keep that in mind. And if we're taking a look at the price of Ethereum on the weekly time frame, technically the larger price structure for Ethereum is still currently bearish, so not much has changed over the last one day on the weekly Ethereum price chart. But if we're taking a look at the 3-day time frame, we are still currently bouncing from this 78.6% Fibonacci level of support, sitting at around 1870 to 1880. So once again, as I've been saying since before we saw that perfect bounce right here, we do have a lot of support in the high 1.8k area, just below 1.9k. And as for resistance, we are currently quickly approaching this area of resistance, mainly sitting in between around 2150 to 2.2k, but also I'd mainly be paying attention to around 2.1k to 2.2k just to broaden the area. And so far we are already starting to struggle around that 2.1k level, exactly as I've been saying since before we started to struggle at that level. So obviously, once again, expect a lot of resistance from within this area, but if we can finally see a confirmed breakout, ideally above 2.2k, that could potentially be very bullish for Ethereum if we actually break out above that resistance. Obviously, for now, we are still struggling around that area. And as I always say, Ethereum, along with a lot of the major altcoins out there, will likely follow similar price action to what Bitcoin is doing. So if Bitcoin, for example, breaks out above resistance or plays out a bit more bullish price action, or if Bitcoin ultimately has another dump, either way, expect something similar for Ethereum and a lot of the major altcoins. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the weekly time frame, it's a similar story for Solana as well, because as we can see, we are currently bouncing from major support, still sitting in between 120 to 130. And so not a lot has changed over the last one day on this Solana price chart. The price is still following what I've been talking about. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, of course, the price is also still following and playing out this bullish divergence, as I've been saying every day for almost 2 weeks, since all the way back down here. And so once again, a bullish divergence means we're most likely going to see just a slight bullish relief, or at the very least a bit of choppy sideways price action in the shorter term. And usually a bullish divergence on the daily time frame plays out over a couple of weeks, give or take, before it starts to lose relevance. But for now, we've not yet confirmed any invalidation signal to invalidate the bullish divergence, which means technically speaking, it is still playing out. And so we should continue to expect this type of price action moving forward, at least in the shorter term, for the price of Solana. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the 3-day time frame, this larger bearish divergence is technically still active for XRP on this chart right here. So not a lot has changed in that regard over the last one day. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term on that 8-hour time frame, we are still basically just bouncing around sideways between support and resistance within a bit of a sideways price range. And so we still have this area of support to watch out for in between $2.24 to $2.30, and more support in between $1.95 to $2.05. And we also have a bit of support right here at $2.30 $2.36 that we've just found recently. And as for resistance, we do have a bit of short-term resistance at around 256, but above that we have more resistance in between 265 to 280 and more resistance at around $3. But once again, at least for now, and as I've been saying over and over again recently here on the channel, the price of XRP is simply lacking momentum to either direction in the short term. So we are not overly bullish or overly bearish. We're simply just relatively neutral, at least for now. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, at least for now, Chainlink is still exactly playing out this bullish divergence as I've been saying for over a week now. So once again, this means we're most likely going to see a slight bullish relief in the short term. And right now we are running into this area of resistance sitting in between around 1490 to 1550. And the price of Chainlink is currently getting very close to possibly breaking out above 1550. And so, like I've said over the last couple of days, if we can finally confirm a breakout above 1550 with at least a solid daily candle close confirming above that level and ideally holding that as new support, then in that situation, the next short-term price target, the next major point of resistance would be sitting at around 1750 approximately. And in that situation, we have a possible inverse head and shoulders pattern forming. So first of all, we need to first confirm the breakout above 1550 and then head up towards roughly 1750, give or take, and then reject from around that area on the price chart, come back down to retest the golden pocket, and then bounce from that level to form the right shoulder. And then in that situation, that would form the inverse head and shoulders pattern, which would be a massive bullish pattern if that actually forms and then breaks out. But obviously we still have a long way to go to possibly confirm that. It's just something that I'm pointing out early on in case it actually confirms later on. But for now, the main focus for Chainlink is of course the bullish divergence technically still active and this resistance at around 1550 getting very close to breaking. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto for yourself, no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.